prayers of Queen Kunti. Okay. Hare Krishna. Okay, so let's start with our pranam mantras. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Ti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, so prayers by Queen Kunti. So who knows who is Queen Kunti and Parikshit Maharaj? Do we know a little bit story about the Mahabharata and how
Kunti is the five Pandavas mothers.
Mother, yes, correct. And there was a big war, right? It's called what? We've seen Kurukshetra, war of Kurukshetra, Mahabharata. Then who knows who is Parikshit? Maharaj Parikshit.
That's the grandfather of the Pandavas.
He's the grandson of Pandavas, correct?
No, not grandson, grandfather.
Parikshit Maharaj is the son of Abhimanyu, and Abhimanyu is the son of Arjuna.
Yeah, from Subhadra.
Yes, so Parikshit Maharaj is grandson of the Pandavas.
And Krishna saved him in the womb when he was in the womb of Uttara by the Brahmastra that was received by Ashwatthama.
Very nice.
And Parikshit saw Krishna the first time.
Yes. So when you all know all this, I'm so glad. Oh my God, you are at this young age and you know so much of Srimad Bhagwatam. You know that one drop of Srimad Bhagwatam is said to be like the juiciest of juice of the nectar of, whatever that could exist ever. That one drop is just enough for purifying. And you all know so much. So I'm so happy to hear all this from you. So let's get into, now that you know already so much nice background to the story. So quick recap. So this chapter of Srimad Bhagwatam, chapter 8 from Srimad Bhagwatam, canto 1st, is describing the prayers of Kunti Maharani. And when did this occur? It was when the war of Kurukshetra had ended, and Yudhishthir Maharaj was
the king,
established as a king of the Hastinapur and the kingdoms, of course, around Indraprastha and everything. So he was established as the king to rule over those lands. And then all this time, Krishna was in Hastinapur and in Indraprastha, during this war was happening. During that time, he was away from Dwarika. And back in Dwarika, Krishna has his queens and his family. That's Vasudev Krishna, right? So now Krishna is ready to go back after Yudhishthir Maharaj has been established as king, and now everything is settled, and Krishna was ready to go back to Dwarika, back to the queens of Dwarika. At that time, Kunti, Mother Kunti, she offers her prayers, and you see in these prayers is the great philosophy, is the deep philosophy. And that's why our Guru Maharaj, our dear Srila Prabhupada, he said, that he has actually, out of so many books that he has written, he has one small book, which is one book by itself on this chapter, which is, the name of that book is Prayers by Queen Kunti.
I know that book is on Veda base.
Yeah, it is also on the Veda base. It's very beautiful, and in that he has described so much more in detail that how intelligent was Mother Kunti, Queen Kunti, to have that realization. Of course, she was also one of the relatives of Lord Krishna, Vasudev Krishna, and she was so intelligent. And when she's offering her prayers, she's in those prayers is the deep philosophy. It's beautiful, one of the beautiful prayers of Srimad Bhagwatam. Srimad Bhagwatam has so many prayers, right? It has Purusha Sukta prayers by demigods, then it has prayers by Prahlad Maharaj, it has prayers by Gajendra, right? So many prayers are there in Srimad Bhagwatam. Prayers of Queen Kunti come in the very first canto of Srimad Bhagwatam, and one of the very, very beautiful prayers. That's a little background into it. So let's get into the chapter. We'll read along, and let's see how much we can get through. And then, as we go along, we'll discuss a little more about these verses, these beautiful prayers that she's offering, Queen Kunti is offering. Okay. All right, text 1. Sutta Goswami. Actually, we'll also take turns, okay, reading one verse, all of us. It's very nice to read Srimad Bhagavatam every day. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Every day we should listen Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so text 1. Sutta Goswami said, therefore, the Pandavas desiring to deliver water and to the dead relatives who had desired it, went to the Ganges with Draupadi. The lady walked in the front. Okay, so this was when Pandavas were, they wanted to offer tarpan, like we say, the waters, right, to the dead relatives from the war. So they are going to River Ganga along with their wife Draupadi. Having lamented over them and sufficiently offered Ganga water, they bathed in the Ganga, whose water is sanctified due to being mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. So, you know where Ganga comes from? She comes to earth from Swargaloka, but from Swargaloka up top, she comes from the Kamandalu of Brahmaji. Kamandalu means a pot. But in that pot, how did the water get in that pot? So you know that story when Vamandev came and Bali Maharaj, Vamandev is Lord Krishna, one of the forms of Lord Krishna. And he asked Bali Maharaj 3 steps of land. And then Bali Maharaj said, okay, I'll give you 3 steps of land. And then in the first step, Vamandev measured everything on the earth. In the second step, he measured everything in Swargaloka and everything in other lokas and everything else in the universe. And then Vamandev says that, okay, where should I put the third step? And then Bali Maharaj was Prahlad Maharaj's grandson again. So that time, Bali Maharaj said that, oh my Lord, you place your third step on my head because I'm surrendered to you. So in that second step, when Vamandev, the form of Lord Krishna, he was measuring the entire universe. He pierced a hole in the layers in which this universe is placed or encaged. So and then beyond that is the spiritual world. So Ganga emanates. So then Ganga, once Vaman Dev pierced the hole through his nail, through his toenail, the water comes gushing from the Vaikuntha Loka. So the boundary of the Vaikuntha Loka and the material world, the spiritual world and the material world, is this Karnodak ocean. And then and actually that's coming from the own perspiration of Lord Vishnu, Mahavishnu, and that water actually takes the form of Ganga. So one of the names of Ganga Devi is also Vishnupadi. She comes from the lotus feet of the Lord, and then that's how when the water was coming, Brahmaji holded it up in his pot. And then, when there's a pastime how Ganga Devi came to the Swargaloka, and then eventually how she came to the earth to purify the earth, to purify everything. The devotees of the Lord, the people who commit sins, and to purify, to give us purification. Mother Ganga appears here on the earth. So here in this, having lamented over sufficiently offered Ganga water, they bathed in Ganga, and then they kind of move on. So the third verse here, there sat the king of Kurus, Maharaj Yudhishthir, along with his young brother and Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Kunti, and Draupadi, all overwhelmed with grief. Lord Krishna was also there, citing the stringent laws of Almighty and their reactions upon living beings. Lord Krishna and the Munis began to pacify those who were shocked and affected. So this was the time when everybody was very sad, right? The war had ended. Yes, Yudhishthir Maharaj became the king, but because they had lost their relatives, there was sadness around that. The clever Duryodhan and his party cunningly spurred a kingdom of Yudhishthir, who had no money. By the grace of the Lord, the recovery was executed, and the unscrupulous king who joined with Duryodhan were killed by him. Others who died, their duration of the life having decreased for their rough handling of the hair of Queen Draupadi. So we all know, right, why that war happened and who all were killed, right? So there was all this Yudhishthir Maharaj now, along with Lord Krishna and the relatives that were there. They were sad about all that had happened. Lord Krishna caused 3 well-performed Ashwamedh Yajna. So these are the yagyas. These are special yagyas that are performed. And Lord Krishna caused 3 well-performed Ashwamedh Yajna to be conducted by Maharaj Yudhishthir, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who performed 100 such sacrifices. Lord Krishna then prepared for his departure. He invited the son of Pandu. After having been worshipped by the Brahmanas, headed by the Srila Vyasadeva, the Lord also reciprocated greetings. As soon as he seated himself on the chariot for Dwarika, he saw Uttara hurrying towards him in fear. Now, Lord is ready to go back to Dwarika, okay? And Uttara comes hurrying towards the Lord because she wanted, because she was protected by the Lord, right? The child in Uttara's womb, who is Parikshit Maharaj, was also protected. So here Uttara comes running, right? O Lords of Lord of universe, you are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me, protect me. For this, there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. Oh my Lord, you are all powerful. A fiery iron arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally, but if you so desire, but please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. Please do not do this favor. Do me this favor, oh my Lord. So Uttara comes rushing to the Lord to ask for the protection. What had happened when all the war was done? Then Ashwadhama, who was the son of Dronacharya. Dronacharya was the guru of the Pandavas and all the Kauravas, Duryodhana and his brothers. So Ashwadhama had fired a very strong weapon called Brahmastra towards Uttara, because he knew that Uttara was going to give birth to a child, and that was the child who was going to be the next successor of Yudhishthir Maharaj. And he did not wanted that to happen because just of enviousness that he had. Now, Sutta Goswami said, having patiently heard her words, Lord Krishna, who is always very affectionate to his devotees, could at once understand that Ashwadhama, the son of Dronacharya, had thrown the Brahmastra to finish the last life in the Pandavas family. O foremost among the great thinkers, Munis, Shaunakas, seeing the glaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them, the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons. So Pandavas also wanted to protect Uttara now. The Almighty Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, had observed that a great danger was befalling his unalloyed devotees, who were fully surrendered souls. At once took upon the Sudarshan disc. Lord Krishna has what? Sudarshan chakra on his finger, right? And that he took out at once to protect all of them and Uttara. The Lord of Supreme Mysticism, Sri Krishna, resides within everyone's heart as Paramatma. As such, just to protect the progeny of Kuru dynasty, he covered the embryo of Uttara by his personal energy. So Lord actually took a very tiny form and he entered inside Uttara, and then he protected by his personal energy there. O Shaunaka, glory of Bhrigu's family, although the supreme Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwadhama was irresistible and without check or counteraction, it was neutralized and foiled when controlled by the strength of Vishnu. O Brahmanas, do not think this to be especially wonderful in the activities of mysterious and infallible personality of Godhead. By his own transcendental energy, he creates, maintains, and annihilates all material things, although he himself is unborn. Thus saved from the radiation of Brahmastra, Kunti, the chaste devotee of the Lord, and her 5 sons, and Draupadi addressed Lord Krishna as he started for home. So here's where the prayers of Queen Kunti, the mother Kunti, begin. So now Srimati Kunti said, so here's where she's beginning to offer her obeisances, and then she offers the prayers. I offer my, yeah.
The first verse that Queen Kunti is gonna say for the prayers. I memorized it last year.
Very nice. We should all memorize these prayers of Bhagwatam. You know, actually, these prayers of Bhagwatam are so special that even if whatever you are doing, like Manohar did, right? The first verse he has memorized. Even when we leave the body, that doesn't get left behind. That goes along with the consciousness, because the Srimad Bhagwatam, Bhagavad Gita, these are not ordinary, mundane, just words, right? They have emanated from the lotus mouth of Lord Krishna, and they are absolute. Why? Because Lord Krishna is everything, his energies, his sound, his word, his his paraphernalia, his abode, everything is absolute. They are not temporary, they do not belong to this world. His name, like that. We know that Gajendra, he was actually a king in his last life, correct? And when he was in that danger, when he was in that fight with crocodile for a long time, he's calling out for Krishna. And then when Lord Krishna appears, he remembers what? The prayers that he had offered to the Lord before, and then he repeats those prayers from his memory. And that's how, he pleased the Lord. So whatever you have done, Manohar, it's not just for this, okay, I've learned and, at some point you will know this remains forever with us. Forever means forever. Even when person leaves the body, all this, is it becomes part of our sanskaras, it becomes part of our consciousness, and that goes along with it. Very nice. Also, thank you for sharing that, Manohar. Okay, so we'll read the prayers. Text, we are on text 18 now. Srimati Kunti said, O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you. You are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all. So what is Mother Kunti saying in this first prayer? She's saying that basically the summary of that is she's saying that Lord is all pervading, right? And that's what Krishna says also in Bhagavad Gita, right? That I am the source of everything that is moving or non-moving. And he says that I am there in every atom. That's exactly what Mother Kunti is saying here. Queen Kunti is saying that you are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all. So that means Lord is pervading everywhere we can see. And in Bhagavad Gita also, if you remember, we have done that, we've discussed a little bit about that 9th chapter. Lord says, I am the heat in the fire, I am the light in the sun, right? I'm the taste in the water. So Lord is there, presence of the Lord is everywhere, but we cannot see Lord with these mundane eyes that we have, material eyes that we have, is invisible to us because of our own contamination. But if we have that vision, with the mercy of our Gurudev, Guru Maharaj, we get that vision.
Sanjaya has spiritual eyes.
Yes, he was awarded spiritual eyes by Vyasadev. So like that, with the mercy of our Guru Maharaj, our Gurudev, they give us the vision to see the Lord actually. And how? With our love and devotion. So we should actually follow their instructions. We should, read Srimad Bhagwatam every day and, do some service and then chant his holy name. These 5 things we should do every day. Okay, you are existing both within and without everything, and yet you are invisible to all. But being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are eternally irreproachable factor, covered by curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observers, exactly as an actor dressed as the player is not recognized. So what is Mother Kunti saying here? That we have limited senses, right? We all know, we have discussed this in depth, right? How our senses are limited. They can see only up to certain length. Our ears can only listen to certain frequency. Our nose can only sense certain fragrances or smell. And then there are other living entities like dogs, and they have like little bit different capacity to say. So, but still, all of that put together, that is still we have a limited senses. There is so much beyond that we cannot perceive with our senses. So that's what Mother Kunti is saying, that our senses are limited. And she's saying that you are eternally irreproachable factor covered by curtain of deluding energy. Like, what is that energy? Maya. Krishna also says that in Bhagavad Gita. See, Mother Kunti has read like the heart of the Lord, and she, because Bhagavad Gita was spoken just few days ago when this war had started, right? When this Mother Kunti had offered his prayers, but still she's saying the same things that Lord Krishna has given us in Bhagavad Gita, right? He told that in Bhagavad Gita. So she was also, Lord had also reciprocated all that knowledge in her heart. Because why? Because she was a pure devotee of the Lord also, along with Arjuna and other Pandavas. She had always sought shelter of the Lord. And whoever seeks the shelter of the Lord, Lord says, I provide whatever they need. So here she's saying that you are invisible to foolish. What does Krishna say, that word in Bhagavad Gita? That foolish are the ones who cannot understand my transcendental nature, right? For the word mudha, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that they are foolish who do not recognize my transcendental nature. And that's what Mother Kunti is saying, that they cannot see you. Exactly like an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. You yourself descend to propagate the transcendental science of devotional service onto the hearts of the advanced transcendentalists and mental speculators who are purified by being able to discriminate between matter and spirit. How then can woman know you perfectly? So although she knew everything, right, she's just taking a humble position. That's her humility, that she's saying that how I, a woman, can know you perfectly. Because she's saying that only Lord Krishna himself can reveal to the truth about himself, the science about this transcendental science of devotional service onto the hearts of the devotees. So, although she was also a devotee, right, she was also fully knowledgeable, but she's just being humble here. And that's what the sign of a devotee is. A pure devotee would never go bragging that, oh, I know everything, right? They know everything and they use whatever they have in service of the Lord. That's the extent. For the pleasure of the Lord, not to glorify themselves, right? Okay. Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord, who has become a son of Vasudev, the pleasure of Devaki, the boy of Nanda, and other cowherd men of Vrindavan, and the enlever of the cows and the senses. So what is that name of Lord Krishna, who is master of the cows and the senses? Govinda.
Govinda.
Yeah, Govinda. Go means also cows. Go means also senses. And who is the master? Lord Krishna. So here she's saying that she's offering her obeisances. And she's saying that who has become the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, and the boy of Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd men of Vrindavan. Okay, so one thing, do you notice any prayers in Bhagavatam start with what? with paying the obeisances. With paying the obeisances. Any prayer you see, when we start even reciting Srimad Bhagwatam, what do? We pay our obeisances to Gurudev to invoke the mercy, right? We pay our obeisances to Gurudev and the Lord to invoke their mercy. So any prayers here also, you see 2-3 verses, still one more verse down, she's offering obeisances. Do we all offer obeisances every day to the Lord in our homes? We have some pictures of the Lord or some deities or a small altar where we offer the obeisances.
I do that, Mata, every morning.
Yes, every day. That is very important. What is that? What is the obeisances? What is pranams? Actually, one of the it is one of the limbs of the 9 processes, right? Of bhakti. What are the 9 processes? Do you all know? Prahlad Maharaj.
Smaranam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Pada, Sevana, I don't remember. I don't know.
Archanam.
I know. Mataji, can I say them?
Yes, go ahead.
Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Arjanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam.
Atmanivedanam, yes. And Vandanam means paying the obeisances and offering the prayers. That is one of the limbs of this 9 processes. Actually, there are 64 these limbs, but we may be not able to do all that. But these 9 are very, very important ones that give us direct perception of the Lord. That puts us in direct connection of the Lord. When we are chanting the holy name, we are indirectly connected to the Lord. When we are actually paying obeisances in front of the deities, in front of the pictures of the Lord, we are actually in direct contact of the Lord. So these 9 processes are very important. We should offer our obeisances. After we offer obeisances to the Gurudev, first we offer our obeisances to Gurudev and then the Lord. And then we should also offer our obeisances to our parents every day. Because by their mercy, by their grace, they take care of us. We get opportunity to learn about Krishna, to sustain our lives here, right? Lord is the provider of everything, but Lord is providing us through whose means? Through the means of our parents, right? So we should always, every day, we should not only pay obeisances to the Lord, Guru, and then we should also pay our obeisances to our parents every day. Okay, so let's continue. My respectful obeisances unto you, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with the depression like a lotus flower, who is always decorated with the garlands of the lotus flower, whose glance is cool as the lotus, and whose feet are engraved with lotus. So, Lord's eyes are like lotus flowers. So all the limbs of the Lord are like compared to a lotus flower, right? In a sense, what does lotus signify actually? What is the quality of the lotus?
It like blooming, like pinkish.
It grows even in the dirt. Like there's like dirt all around it, but it still blooms very nicely.
Yes, and it is untouched by any kind of contamination, and that's how the Lord is. He's untouched by any of this material aspect, and that's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? Again, see, every verse actually is somehow or the other, you can also trace it back what Lord Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, right? And Mother Kunti, when she's offering these prayers, she hadn't read Bhagavad Gita, but Lord has revealed all that knowledge in her heart because she is a pure devotee of the Lord. So she's saying that Lord is his eyes, his glance, his lotus feet, everything is compared to the lotus, because even though that they are here, Lord appears here, he's not contaminated by any. He is, in fact, everything emanates from him. He's the source of everything, but he is not contaminated by anything. That's what Mother Kunti is saying. O Rishikesha, master of the senses and the lords of the Lord, you have released your mother Devaki, who was long imprisoned and distressed by the envious king Kamsa, and me and my children from the series of constant dangers. So Lord has how he had protected Mother Devaki and Vasudev Maharaj, the mother and the father of Lord Vasudev Krishna, from Kamsa. She's saying similarly, you also protected my children and Mother Kunti from all this, so many dangerous events that they had gone through. And every time Lord Krishna was there to protect them. Just like what? Just like Prahlad Maharaj, isn't it? When Hiranyakashipu was troubling Prahlad Maharaj, he wanted to, punish Prahlad Maharaj. What was Hiranyakashipu's doing? He was throwing him in the pit of snakes. He was throwing him from the huge mountain, the big heights, from the big heights of the mountain. He was putting him in a fire. And every time, who was there to protect Prahlad Maharaj? The Lord. Why? Because he was a devotee. He was surrendered to the Lord. He had taken shelter of the Lord and he sought his protection. And Lord is always, if we seek protection of the Lord in our lives for anything, for sure Lord is there to protect. We just have to call out for him. We just have to have that strong faith that Lord is there to protect. And he is always there to protect not only just we, but everybody. Whoever takes shelter of the Lord. Lord is so loving because all of us are his children. Right? So here shows her surrendership to the Lord. How she was surrendered and her sons were surrendered to the Lord. Okay, 24th. Okay, let's read all of you we can take turns. So yes, go ahead, Mihika, you can read 24th.
Okay, Mataji. My dear Krishna, your lordship has protected us from a poison snake, cake, from a great fire, from cannonballs, from the witches' assembly, from sufferings during our exile in the forest, and from the battle where great generals fought. And now you have saved us from the weapon of Ashwatthama.
Yes, thank you so much. So, Lord protected everybody. Just like we were talking about Prahlad Maharaj, he was there for him in the fire, in the mountains, and deep in the oceans. So similarly, Lord had protected them from poisoned cakes, from the great fire and the cannibals and vicious assemblies where all this gambling had taken place, right? Lord Krishna had protected Draupadi, right? So Lord Krishna was always there for them because they were devotees of the Lord. And now from the weapon of Ashwatthama. Okay. Yes. Go ahead, Govinda, next. I wish. Yes, go ahead, Govinda, are you reading? Okay, let's come back to Govinda. Neeb, you want to read? Yeah, go.
You can hear him.
Yeah, we cannot hear him.
Can I read? Can I read?
Yes, let's Manohar, let's Neeb read. And then you can read the next, and then Jyotsna can go. Okay.
I
Read
wish
that one. Okay, go ahead.
I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and death.
Yeah, thank you. So out of all the entire prayer of Mother Queen Kunti, this verse, if you see, is so deep. All the prayers are, all the verses are beautiful, but you see what she's asking here in this verse. Prabhupada has quoted this again and again in so many lectures. What is she asking? She's saying, I wish those calamities would happen again and again, so we could see you again and again. For seeing you means there will be no longer we will see repeated births and death. Now you see, when we go to the Lord, what do we ask? We ask for, nice education, nice houses, and nice, things that comfort us, nice cars, right? Do we all ask for these things?
I asked for good grades in school.
Yeah, nice education, right? What is Mother Queen Kunti asking here? She's asking for more calamities. Isn't that, do you see her heart? Why is she asking for who would ask for calamities in their life? Are those easy to go through? No. But see what she's asking. Why she's asking? What is her bhava in that? She's asking those calamities may happen again and again because Lord was always there with them to protect. They would always get the association of the Lord. And getting the association of the Lord means no more birth and death. So you see, these calamities did not affect Kunti Maharani's mind, although they are not easy to go through. But because of the association of the Lord, she was not affected by this. Her heart was so pure. Her heart was longing only for the association of the Lord, regardless of how difficult sometimes those situations would be. Then what to say of the people who are in Dwarika, queens are in Dwarika, who get the association of the Lord? There are no calamities in Dwarika, right? Then what to say of people in Vrindavan, who play with the Lord, who eat with the Lord, and who, do all kinds of things with the Lord, in so closeness. All these are pure devotees. They ask nothing else than the association of the Lord. You see, Mother Kunti is ready to go through so hardship also, because just to get that association of the Lord. That means also no more birth and death. When we get the association of the Lord, there is nothing in this world that, just by the glance of the Lord can purify us. So what to say of when we have the direct association of the Lord could purify the soul so quickly. Okay, next one. Neve, you go ahead. 26th.
Before I could not. So yeah.
My Lord, your Lordship can easily
be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectful peerage, great opulence, high education, and body beauty, you cannot approach you with sincere feeling.
Sincere feelings, yes. Again, there is this, you see that this Lord Krishna said that in Bhagavad Gita also, that there are four kinds of people who will approach me, and then they are pious, and then there are four kinds of people who will never approach me. And what is Mother Kunti saying? The respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, and bodily beauty. So these four kinds of people will never have that sincerity or sincere feelings for the Lord, because they have all these things, somehow or the other, their ego, that their false identity becomes so strong, or they connect with it so strongly, and they are bound to it, that their sincere feelings do not get manifested in their heart. Very nice. Thank you. Okay, so Jyotsna, go ahead. Next one, number 27.
My obeisances are unto you, who are the property of the materially impoverished. You have nothing to do with the actions and reactions of the material modes of nature. You are self-satisfied, and therefore you are the most gentle and are master of the monist.
Very nice. So Mother Kunti is offering prayers, and she's saying, my obeisances to you. You are property of the materially impoverished. So materially impoverished, we are in our lives, we are going for this. For what? For attaining material assets, right? We want to build houses, we want big cars, big houses, big assets. But Lord is the property of who? Who are materially impoverished. That means if they don't have any material assets, that doesn't mean that we should not have the assets. But see here, the feeling that Kunti Maharani is having, saying that Lord is, regardless of whatever it is, the situation, Lord is actually only and only looking for the devotion in the heart. And that arises only when we detach ourselves from this material gains that we have. And that's why Lord becomes their property. Now you see, if there is, just imagine, yeah, go ahead.
Your voice is cutting a little.
Oh, is it cutting? Okay. I'll try to be a little more closer to the computer. Okay. Here, materially impoverished, yes. So we were talking about this. You see, if someone is the president of the country, okay, and when that president comes home to his own house, is he also the president of the members in his house? Because that house is in the same country. Is he or is he not? Yeah, technically he is, right? He is the president of every citizen of the country, and all those members of his own family are also the citizen of the country, right? But because they're bound with them, he's bound with them in the relationship, right? That bond of love is even more stronger than that external designation that he might be holding for the time being. So similarly, the Lord, actually, when we have that devotion for the Lord, he becomes bound by that love. Even though he may be the Lord of the supreme, this whole universe, but he becomes bound by the love of the devotee. Very nice. Thank you, Jyotsna. Okay, 28th. Who would read? Let's see. Who else has not read and would like to read? Okay, Mihika, you can go next. 28th.
Okay, Mataji. 28. My Lord, I consider your Lordship to be eternal time, the supreme controller, without beginning and N, the all-pervasive one. In distributing your mercy, you are equal to everyone. The dissensions between living beings are due to social intercourse.
Right. Lord, oh my Lord, I consider your Lordship to be eternal time, the supreme controller. And that's what Krishna says, right? In Bhagavad Gita again, he says that I am the time and, I'm the supreme. All this come from me, right? So he is the supreme controller. Without beginning and end, he's eternal, right? Again, in the second chapter, Lord Krishna is saying that there's never a time that I did not exist or you did not exist. He's without any beginning or end. In distributing your mercy, you are equal to everyone because everybody is his children, right? Everybody have come from the Lord. He is the eternal Father. And the dissemination between the living beings are due to the social intercourse. Because we based on our consciousness where we have placed ourselves, the degradation that a soul has, that dissension, that discriminate, although Lord would never discriminates between anything, even though Lord is same to a animal or a non-moving entity like trees and plants, and he has the same amount of love. But he is bound by what? By the love of the devotee. So that dissension is actually because of our own consciousness that we have. But Lord is equal to everyone, right? Okay. So 29th. Who would like to read? Govinda, you want to go? Read 29th?
Mataji, can Jyotsna read?
Yes, go ahead, Jyotsna.
O Lord, no one can understand your transcendental pastimes, which appear to be human and so are misleading. You have no specific object of favor, nor do you have any object of envy. People only imagine that you are partial.
Very nice. Thank you. So she's elaborating a little more on the same thing, that although Lord is equal to everyone, he's not envious, he's not in favor of one over the other, but people only imagine that Lord is partial because of their own consciousness. Very nice. Okay, so I'll read few. Of course, it is bewildering, O soul of the universe, that you work though you are inactive and you take birth, though you are a vital force and unborn, you yourself descend amongst the animal, men, sages, aquatics. Verily, this is bewildering. So Lord is Mother Kunti is saying that although you are unborn, right, and you are eternally there, right, but you still show like you're taking a birth. And you appear in that birth, right? And you yourself descend amongst the animals. What were the forms in the animals that Lord is descending in the form of an animal? Matsya avatar, right?
Varaha.
Fish. Then, yes, Varaha. Then Kurma.
Matsya, Kurma,
Nars-
Narsimha, Varaha,
Yes.
like it wasn't fully Narsimha Bhagwan, but it's half.
Yes, half lion. Yep. And then in the
Kurma.
men.
Nar means human, I think, and
Yes.
and Simha means
Lion.
Yes. Very nice. Yes, and then men, and then sages, aquatics, verily, and this is bewildering. The Lord is so merciful. Why does he have to come in all those forms? But he takes those forms to perform those pastimes, to enable those leelas, which purify all of us. Say if Lord hadn't come those in forms, would we be talking about these leelas that happened? How he protected Prahlad Maharaj in Narsimha form? How did he protected in the form of Varahadev, how he protected Mother Earth, he brought the Mother Earth, and that increases all these pastimes of the Lord, increases our faith, it revives our bond, our love back to him. So he comes again and again to revive his devotees back and to protect the devotees and to establish the religious principles. Okay. My dear Krishna, Yashoda took up a rope to bind you, and when you committed an offense, your perturbed eyes overflooded with the tears which washed the mascara from your eyes. You were afraid, though fear personified is afraid of you. This sight is bewildering. So she's saying that you're so amazing. Again and again, she's saying this, that Lord is doing all this for what? So, with this pastime of when Lord Krishna is bound by Mother Yashoda, she's running behind Lord Krishna with a stake, and Lord is fearful, right? Damodar Ashtakam we read, and Lord is getting, feared. Although this fear itself comes from the Lord, right? The fear personified is also afraid of the Lord. So, is there really reason for Lord to be afraid? But then that pastimes becomes so beautiful when we see that although he's the Supreme Lord, how he's bound just by the love. Only because of Mother Yashoda's love, he's bound by, and all these pastimes are being enacted by the Lord because of the devotee's love for him. Some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings, and others say that he is born to please King Yadu. One of your dearest devotees, you appear in his family as a sandalwood appears in the Malaya hills. Okay, so we'll take a pause here and see if anybody has any questions, or I know you're almost also towards the end. You might be doing these verses with Prabhu in few classes. So I think that's about where you might have been. So we'll take a pause here and see if anybody would like to share anything or have any questions or any realizations or what you learned, anything that you want to share. Yes, go ahead, Mika.
Mataji, for the realization, I wanted to say that it was a very nice class. A very nice review of the Kunti Stuti and the beginning of the chapter. And then one realization that I had was that Kunti Maharani, she was emphasizing on the same point that Krishna is so amazing that he can appear in any form, animal or any form, and
just because of the love,
just
right?
because of love of devotees. And then I had two questions. My first question is, like for one of the shlokas, Kunti Maharani said that Krishna's leelas are misleading. So I didn't understand why she said misleading. Like how
misleading to the people who do not understand the Lord. Like Duryodhan, right? Lord Krishna was right in front of him. Lord Krishna, but he never understood Lord Krishna as the Supreme. He always understood Lord as a mystic person. He always said that, oh, you are just a magical person. You're, magic. So he just considered him a mystic person. So Lord is never revealed. Lord only reveals. This is one of the things that, if you know the poet Tulsidas, he has said that in his Ramcharitmanas that Unhe to so hi janai, jine te hi janai. If Lord wants to reveal himself to someone, only then he gets to know the Lord. Otherwise, with our own endeavor, we can never understand the Lord. That's why we need a guru. That's why we need to take the shelter of the guru. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah.
And I have one more question. Like when if it's regarding the Damodar Leela, so like when Nalkuber and Minigriva, when they were like freed from Krishna, how long were their prayers?
How long were their prayers? I think those should also be part of Srimad Bhagwatam, the prayers. I don't know. We can look up in that chapter when they offered those prayers.
Okay, Mataji, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else like to share anything? Okay, so we'll end here and we'll continue again. So we'll say our pranam mantras quickly to end. Pancha kalpatarubhyascha
Mataji, I want to say something.
sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Antakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Yes, Manohar, you had to say something?
Kiran Mataji ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes.
So I learned that after the war, the Pandavas took a bath in Ganga. I didn't really know that.
Yeah, they offered the waters to Mother Ganga for their ancestors and for the people who had passed away in the war. Okay. Okay, so we all will see you again. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.